Welcome back. Isn't it exciting? I think it is. Political panel time. Let me introduce you. Democratic strategist Hyma, Republican strategist Tiffany, Smiley. All right. I mentioned this before we went to break. I got to read this, folks. Yeah. There is a coffee shop in New York I've never been to. It's called Poetica. And Dan Goldman, a member of Congress, and his 7-year-old daughter, as the story goes, went in, had to use the restroom. But Dan Goldman did what I always do. If I use a restroom, I buy something. That's an iron rule, folks. If you don't follow it, start following it. Use the bathroom, buy something. Anyway, they do. Then there's a post. You can see it right now. Let me summarize it. Do you see how it doesn't taste like genocide juice? This is referring to what he bought there. Or are you still having a hard time telling the difference? Question mark. See, here at Poetica, we don't serve racists, fascists, homophobes, genocide enablers, or anyone in between. I will give you Goldman's response. I'm sorry to see this post. The barista could not have been nicer to my 7-year-old daughter and me, allowing her to use the bathroom even though we had not purchased anything. I made sure to buy a coffee in return for her kindness. I hope you at least make sure she gets the tip that she deserved. Hyma, is this where we are in our American political experience?
I hope not, Major. This is one is disgusting, and we talked about this a little bit. I do think the congressman, I appreciate the way he responded to this. He could have escalated this situation.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't.
I mean, if there was ever a reason or a time you could say, like, I'm going to push button escalate.
Right. Yes. And he didn't do that. But this can't be the litmus test by which we are measuring our elected officials, one. And then two, he came in with such respect, and he did not come in with disrespect. And so I'm disappointed in that. But this is an instance of showing what things are like right now on the ground. You know that.
And is this symptomatic of a conversation going on in Democratic circles about this question of Israel, Gaza, genocide is or isn't it? And even though Dan Goldman is a critic of the Netanyahu government, doesn't hesitate about that, still gets labeled a genocidal, pro-Israel Democrat.
Yeah, and one, because he's Jewish, so we have to be very careful with that.
Right, what does that got to... Hold on, you know, that whole idea that, well, he's a Jew, so therefore
exactly.
we can label him that way.
But I think that, but to this point, I think that's what we're starting to see. You can't, just because you're a Jewish person of Jewish descent, or you are someone who has supported Israel in the past or support Israel currently, doesn't mean you support genocide. And I think that's what the congressman is trying to say. But to your point earlier, that is
a harder conversation.
It is. That is a conversation
for the Democratic Party.
Yes, and it is. And as democratic socialism starts to rise a little bit more and this conversation becomes even more pertinent, it is happening a lot more than is being reported.
Right. Tiffany, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's sad that Mandami didn't make a comment. The mayor of New York City hasn't come out and made a comment on this. He actually declined a comment. And here we are, you know.
Because that would have been a moment from your
perspective. He's mayor of the largest, perhaps, Jewish community in the world besides Israel. And he has nothing to say. It's a sad state of political affairs, and it's a place where now we can hide behind a screen. We saw the video, the baristas obviously videoing the congressman or taking some sort of photo of him as he's being an amazing citizen. And so you can hide behind a screen to create a scene, whatever scene you want that to be, to get attention. But I would like to see more Democrats come out against this. And speak against it and stand up for the Jewish people in this country.
Let me talk to you about the primaries today. New York, South Carolina, kind of our focus. South Carolina, a late, last-minute sort of Trump split the difference, because I think the other guy that I didn't endorse might win in South Carolina.
Well, it's not uncommon for Trump to dual endorse.
Play both sides against the middle. Make sure he's a winner either way.
He's going to do it the Trump way. So I'm not really concerned about that. I think the best person will win to represent South Carolina, and it'll, move forward. I think there's other critical races that are happening in the primaries, and I think today is going to be the litmus test for Mondani. Is he perhaps the new leader of the Democrat Party?
Well, Hyma, there are 3 races he's endorsed, House races in New York. Are you watching that?
Yeah, I'm watching it very closely. And look, I think he is the mayor of New York, and we have many leaders of the party right now, and he's not going to become the leader of the Democratic
Republicans
Party.
are always going to say that.
I think what I'm looking at, Tiffany, I'm looking at how well Hakeem Jeffries, the leader, and how well Chuck Schumer are going to do in these races. I think what the biggest litmus test for Democrats right now
who they back.
Who they back, and they've been on opposite of Mondani, of the mayor.
Yeah.
Right.
And so this is going to be an indicator not of who the leader of the party is. This is going to be an indicator of where democratic socialism is on the spectrum of Democrats and how many inroads they've made over the past year, which I think has been a lot.
This is like a really overcrowded, hot and sweaty subway car ride in New York. You got Kathy Hochul, the governor. You got Mayor Mamdani. You got Chuck Schumer. and you've got Hakeem Jeffries, all New Yorkers, all elbowing each other. It's sweaty and hot, and nobody's really happy, and we'll see when the votes are counted.
That's exactly what's happening.
Who walks out fresher as a daisy than the others.
But I have to say, Hakeem Jeffries.
I gotta go. Sorry.
So much more to say.
Coming up.